Is ketosis dangerous? That's a question you hear a lot these days, especially from people who are skeptical of low carb or ketogenic diets. They say things like it's unnatural, or your body needs carbs, or even it'll damage your brain. But here's something most people don't know. Every single one of us, every human alive, starts life in a state of ketosis. That's right. From the moment we're born and for the first several months of life, if we're breastfed, we are in ketosis. It's not an emergency backup plan. It's not a trick. It's our default setting. Ketosis is a natural metabolic state where your body burns fat for fuel instead of carbohydrates. When you eat carbs, your body turns them into glucose, your main fuel source under a typical modern diet. But when carbs are low and glucose runs out, your liver starts breaking down fat into something called ketone bodies, which your cells, including your brain, use for energy. This isn't new. This isn't risky. It's ancient human biology. And you don't have to take my word for it. All you have to do is look at how we begin life. Babies and ketosis. Let's go back to the beginning. When a newborn baby is breastfed exclusively, which is how humans have nourished their infants for most of history, they're getting a diet that's high in fat, moderate in protein, and very low in carbohydrates. That's the exact macronutrient profile of a ketogenic diet. And because a baby has very low glycogen stores when born, meaning they don't carry around much stored sugar in their liver or muscles, their bodies quickly shift to burning fat and producing ketones. This happens within hours of birth and continues as long as they're exclusively breastfed. In fact, researchers have measured this. Ketone levels in newborns are often 2 to 3 times higher than those found in adults, even those following a ketogenic diet. So what's actually in breast milk that supports ketosis? On average, breast milk is about 50 to 60% fat, 30 to 40% carbohydrates, mostly lactose, a milk sugar, 6 to 8% protein. But here's what matters most. The fat content is dominant and feeding is spaced out, so babies go through mini fasting cycles between meals. During those fasting windows, especially at night, glucose drops and ketone production ramps up. Also, a baby's brain is rapidly growing, and ketones aren't just fuel, they're building blocks. Ketones are used to synthesize key lipids in the brain and central nervous system. In fact, ketones support myelination, which is the insulation of nerve fibers that makes brain communication faster and more efficient. So not only are babies in ketosis, they need to be in ketosis to support healthy brain development. Why this matters? So let's go back to the original question. Is ketosis dangerous? If it were, then our entire species is in trouble because that's how we all began life. The real danger isn't ketosis. The real danger is pretending that glucose is the only safe energy source. It's not. In fact, glucose wasn't always readily available throughout human history. Our ancestors often went hours, sometimes days, without food. Their bodies had to adapt, and ketosis was that adaptation. It's what kept us alive between meals. It's what powered our brains when hunting or migrating. It's what fueled breastfed babies during long nights between feedings. Ketosis isn't a hack, it's the original operating system. What changed? So why do people fear it now? Simple, the modern food environment. We've been trained to eat every 2 to 3 hours. We snack constantly. We're surrounded by processed carbs and sugars, foods that spike insulin and shut off fat burning. And then we wonder why people struggle with obesity, brain fog, energy crashes, and insulin resistance. We've moved so far from how our bodies were designed to function that we treat our natural state, ketosis, as if it's a disease. But if babies can thrive in it, why can't adults? Medical uses of ketosis. Let me take it a step further. Did you know that ketogenic diets have been used therapeutically for nearly a century to treat epilepsy in children? It's incredibly effective, especially for drug-resistant seizures. Why? Because the brain runs beautifully on ketones. They're stable, they reduce inflammation, and they provide a clean burning fuel source without spikes and crashes. That's why researchers are now looking at ketogenic diets for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, certain cancers, and metabolic syndrome. So, again, if ketosis were dangerous, we wouldn't see it being used in medicine to protect the brain. The big picture. Here's the bottom line. We are not born sugar burners. We are not born needing cereal, granola bars, and juice boxes. We are born fat burners. We are born in ketosis. And breast milk, nature's perfect food for babies, is what supports that. That fact alone should stop anyone who says ketosis is unnatural or unsafe in their tracks. For me, understanding this changed everything. Once I realized that ketosis isn't some extreme diet, but something we were literally born into, it gave me a new perspective on food, metabolism, and what it means to be healthy. This isn't about selling a trend. This is about returning to the way our bodies are designed to work. And when we do that, when we cut the sugar, cut the processed carbs, and start fueling with fat again, incredible things happen. We lose weight, yes, but more importantly, we gain clarity, energy, control. So the next time someone tells you ketosis is dangerous, remind them every human being starts life in ketosis, and that's not dangerous. That's by design. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. I love to hear your thoughts. And if you're ready to take back your health by thinking differently about food, stick with me. This is just the beginning. Dale.